Hi everyone, welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 561 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yesterday, President Volodymyr Zelensky officially introduced the new Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Rustem Umerov. In his evening video address, Zelensky said that Umerov is a strong, systematic person with a good understanding of the defense sector. Quote, "From the first days of the full-scale war, he has been involved in negotiations on weapons for Ukraine, very sensitive negotiations, productive. He is also engaged in negotiations on the release of our people from Russian captivity," unquote, said the president. The head of state expressed confidence that Umerov can reboot the work of the Ministry of Defense. During the introduction at the ministry, Zelensky said that it needs to make a shift from bureaucracy into real digitalization, reports Interfax Ukraine. Everything that can be digitalized should be digitalized. Every bureaucratic procedure that can be cancelled should be cancelled. Every item that can save the lives and health of soldiers must be found and supplied to the Ukrainian army, stressed the president. Earlier, the newly appointed defense minister also announced plans to introduce an electronic military ID card, launch a unified register of conscripts, and digitalize all processes of military medical commissions. The US has announced a new military aid package for Ukraine to meet its needs on the battlefield, reports European Pravda. According to the Pentagon, the new $600 million package includes equipment to sustain and integrate Ukraine's air defense systems, additional ammunition for HIMARS multiple launch rocket systems, artillery rounds, electronic warfare and counter-electronic warfare equipment, demolition munitions for obstacle clearing and mine clearing equipment. The day before, the US announced another $175 million military aid package for Ukraine, which includes depleted uranium munitions. The US Embassy also announced plans to provide 190 armored vehicles to Ukraine's border guards and police. We would really appreciate if you could recommend us to your friends and family, as well as share information on social media. This really helps more people to find out about the podcast and truth about Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The Pentagon's Defense Intelligence Agency believes that the recent successes of the armed forces of Ukraine suggest a realistic possibility of a breakthrough in the rest of the Russian defense lines by the end of the year, although it would be extremely difficult, reports Ukrainska Pravda. In an interview with The Economist, Trent Moll, director of analysis at the Defense Intelligence Agency, said that after 3 months of slow progress, the Ukrainian counteroffensive is gaining momentum. Moll admitted that American and Ukrainian officials failed to assess the depth of Russian defenses and how difficult it would be for Ukraine to break through them with armored vehicles. Ukrainian generals told The Guardian that 80% of Russia's efforts aim to build the first and second lines of defense, but Moll warns that a significant part of Russian reinforcements remain on the third line. Moll says two critical variables are extremely important: Ukraine's ammunition supply, vital to support the artillery that ensures the advance, and the weather in the fall. One of the officials of the Biden administration said that Ukraine has about 6 to 7 weeks of fighting left before the culmination of the offensive. Moll is somewhat less gloomy. He calls Ukraine's recent successes significant and gives its forces a realistic opportunity in intelligence terms, with a 40 to 50% probability to break through the remaining Russian lines by the end of the year. But he warned that limited ammunition and deteriorating weather would make it very difficult. CNN informs that in 2022, Elon Musk prevented Ukraine from attacking the Russian Navy in Sevastopol in occupied Crimea, reports Radio Liberty. He secretly ordered Starlink communications to be turned off near the coast of Crimea to prevent Ukraine from using Navy drones. This became known from a fragment of Musk's biography written by the American journalist and writer Walter Isaacson, which will officially go on sale on September 12th. According to the journalist, Ukrainian drones with explosives allegedly approached the Russian fleet but then harmlessly washed ashore. Isaacson writes that Musk's decision was prompted by the fear of retaliation from Russia. The head of SpaceX allegedly spoke with Russian officials and was sure after these conversations that Russia could use nuclear weapons in a similar situation. The Ukrainian side allegedly tried to convince the businessman, but he did not give in. Thank you for listening to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast. We're a commercial initiative of just two people, and we need your help to grow. Share information about the podcast, rate us in the app, subscribe to our Patreon. With your support, we're getting better. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.